Curtis Mayfield, a singer-songwriter, guitarist, and record producer, was a major force behind soul and socially conscious African-American music. Nicknamed the Gentle Genius, he rose to fame with the Impressions, a group inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Impressions found success during the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s. Mayfield later went on to have a successful solo career. Mayfield's musical journey began in a gospel choir. After moving to Chicago's North Side, he met Jerry Butler at 14 and joined the Impressions. As their songwriter, Mayfield became a pioneer, weaving social awareness into soul music. His 1965 song People Get Ready for the Impressions reached legendary status. Rolling Stone ranked it number 24 on their 500 Greatest Songs list, and it's enshrined in both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 Songs That Shaped Rock and Roll and the Grammy Hall of Fame. Striking out on his own in 1970, Mayfield released a string of solo albums. One of his most acclaimed was the soundtrack for the 1972 blaxploitation film Superfly. This soundtrack tackled tough social issues facing inner-city minorities, including crime, poverty, and drug abuse. It resonated deeply, earning a spot at number 72 on Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. In a tragic accident in 1990, lighting equipment fell on Mayfield during a concert, leaving him paralyzed from the neck down. Despite this immense challenge, his creative spirit remained unbroken. He continued recording music, releasing his final album, New World Order, in 1996. Mayfield's resilience was further honored with a Grammy Legend Award in 1994 and a Lifetime Achievement Award in 1995. His immense influence is cemented by his double induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, once with the Impressions in 1991, and again as a solo artist in 1999. In terms of his financial legacy, Curtis Mayfield had an estimated net worth of $10 million at the time of his death in 1999. His music, especially the soundtrack for Superfly, not only achieved critical acclaim but also enjoyed commercial success, reflecting his impact on the industry and his financial success as an artist. The early life of Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Lee Mayfield arrived in Chicago on June 3, 1942. Born at Cook County Hospital. One of 5 children, he grew up with his mother, Marion Washington, and grandmother after his father left the family when Curtis was just 5. Their journey took them through various Chicago public housing projects before landing in Cabrini Green during his teenage years. While attending Wells Community Academy High School, Mayfield's love for music blossomed. His mother nurtured this passion by teaching him piano, and both she and his grandmother instilled a love for gospel music. This early exposure would shape his musical journey, leading him to sing publicly at his aunt's church with the Northern Jubilee Gospel Singers at the young age of 7. At 10 years old, Mayfield received his first guitar, an instrument he cherished so much he'd even sleep with it. He became a self-taught musician, inspired by blues legend Muddy Waters and the masterful Spanish guitarist Andrés Segovia. Mayfield's musical path took a turn at 14 when the Northern Jubilee Gospel Singers decided to try their luck downtown. While they ventured out, Mayfield chose to stay behind. Fellow member Sam Gooden fondly recalled, "We would have loved to have him, but of course, parents have the final say." Undeterred, Mayfield soon found himself drawn to music again. In 1956, he reconnected with high school friend Jerry Butler and joined his group, the Roosters, which also included brothers Arthur and Richard Brooks. This group would eventually evolve into the Impressions, with Mayfield not only performing but also writing and composing their songs. Personal life. Curtis Mayfield's personal life included 2 marriages and several long-term relationships. He leaves behind a legacy that includes 10 children. Althea Mayfield was his partner at the time of his passing, and together they shared 6 children. Professional career. Curtis Mayfield's musical journey kicked off in 1956 when he joined a group called the Roosters with his friends Jerry Butler, Arthur Brooks, and Richard Brooks. 2 years later, they welcomed Sam Gooden to the group and rechristened themselves the Impressions. The Impressions with Butler scored 2 hit singles, For Your Precious Love and Come Back My Love. However, Butler eventually left the group. Mayfield briefly joined him, co-writing and performing on Butler's hit, He Will Break Your Heart. But music called him back to the Impressions, and they signed with ABC Records, working with Chicago-based producer Johnny Pate. With Jerry Butler out, the Impressions brought back original member Fred Cash, and Mayfield stepped into the lead singer role. His songwriting talents blossomed, starting with Gypsy Woman, a top 20 pop hit. They scored another hit with Amen, top 10, a soulful take on an old gospel song, featured in the Sidney Poitier film Lilies of the Field. The Impressions' peak arrived in the mid to late 60s with a string of Mayfield classics. Keep on Pushing, the iconic People Get Ready, It's All Right, top 10, the upbeat Talking About My Baby, top 20, and the empowering Woman's Got Soul. In 1968, Mayfield took a bold step, launching his own Chicago label, Curtis Records. The Impressions joined him on Curtis, continuing their hit streak with songs like Fool for You, This Is My Country, Choice of Colors, and Check Out Your Mind. Mayfield's songwriting had become a powerful voice throughout the civil rights movement of the early 60s. By the end of the decade, he emerged as a leader in the Black Pride movement, alongside figures like James Brown and Sly Stone. We're a Winner, their last major hit for ABC, reached number 14 on the pop charts and topped the R&B charts. Released in 1967, it became an anthem for Black power and pride. Much like his earlier Keep on Pushing, referenced in We're a Winner's lyrics, had been for the civil rights movement and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A songwriting powerhouse, Mayfield's influence extended far beyond the Impressions. He was a prolific writer in Chicago, crafting hits for numerous artists. He even owned his labels Mayfield and Windy C, distributed by Cameo Parkway. Mayfield wasn't just a songwriter. He was a savvy businessman too. He partnered with multiple labels throughout his career, including Curtis, independent then distributed by Buda, Warner Brothers, RSO, and Thomas, independent, Atlantic, independent again, and finally Buda. Mayfield's songwriting magic touched many artists. He wrote 3 hits for Jerry Butler on VJ, He Will Break Your Heart, Find Another Girl, and I'm A-Tellin' You, where his signature harmony vocals shine. He also wrote and arranged Jan Bradley's successful song, Mama Didn't Lie. Starting in 1963, Mayfield's talents exploded at OK Records alongside producer Carl Davis. Together, they penned hits for Major Lance, and The Monkey Time, Walter Jackson, Billy Butler, and The Artistics. This fruitful partnership lasted until 1965. Solo career. In 1970, Mayfield ventured out on his own, launching a successful solo career. His label, Curtis, released many of his albums throughout the 70s, alongside music by The Impressions, Leroy Hudson, and other talented artists. Mayfield's solo debut album, Curtis, arrived in 1970 and became a critical and commercial success, even predating Marvin Gaye's What's Going On in its exploration of social issues. The peak of his solo career arrived with the soundtrack for the blaxploitation film Superfly. This album soared to number 1 on the Billboard charts and sold millions of copies. Unlike many blaxploitation soundtracks that glorified a flashy criminal lifestyle, Mayfield's Superfly took a hard-hitting approach. His lyrics offered unflinching commentary on the struggles of Black urban communities and directly challenged the film's characters. In Rolling Stone magazine, Bob Donat noted that while the film itself sent mixed messages, the anti-drug message on Mayfield's soundtrack is far stronger and more definite. Mayfield's songs like Freddie's Dead and Pusherman exposed the harsh realities of drug abuse and dependency that these films often glossed over. He wasn't blind to the glamorization of dealers and pimps, but he believed the solution wasn't censoring films, but addressing the root causes of these issues in society. Curtis Mayfield's music went beyond catchy tunes. In 1973, his album Back to the World tackled the social issues left by the Vietnam War and criticized American war involvement. Mayfield also experimented with funk and disco. His 1977 hit, Doo Wap Is Strong in Here, from the Short Eyes soundtrack is a prime example. A 2003 biography by Peter Burns mentions a treasure trove of potentially unreleased Curtis Mayfield songs in the Curtis vaults. These 140 recordings, including The Great Escape and Turn Up the Radio might have been close to completion. There's even a live recording from the 1987 Montreux Jazz Festival. 2 unreleased live albums also reside in the vaults. A 1982-83 25th Silver Anniversary concert featuring Mayfield, The Impressions, and Jerry Butler, and a September 1966 live performance by The Impressions at Club Chicago. Final years and death. Curtis Mayfield's achievements continued despite a health setback. He earned the prestigious Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1994. Sadly, in February 1998, he required a right leg amputation due to diabetes. Though unable to attend, Mayfield was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on March 15, 1999. The ceremony included music legends like Paul McCartney, Billy Joel, Bruce Springsteen, Dusty Springfield, and George Martin. Also present were his former label mates, the Staple Singers. While Curtis Mayfield's final credited performance appears on Bran Van 3000's song, Astounded, from their 2001 album Disco Sis, it wasn't a new recording. Due to his declining health after being paralyzed, his vocals were sampled from archived material, including the hit Move On Up. Curtis Mayfield passed away on December 26, 1999, at North Fulton Regional Hospital in Roswell, Georgia. He was 57 years old. Complications from type 2 diabetes caused his death. He is survived by his wife Altheata, their children, mother, siblings, and grandchildren. Thank you for watching. For more content like this, subscribe and click on the bell notification. Make sure to share with your friends.